Scientists agree. Facts are better than intuition for picking employees. Despite the vast amount of scientific literature that points this out, most organizations fill their jobs and make other employee decisions on the basis of something other than whether the candidate can do the job and whether they fit the culture of the organization. In other words, other than the facts. In organizations that use the method we will describe in these 6 short videos, more than 90% of hires are clearly qualified. Clunkers don't get hired. Bias is pushed out of the decision. Decisions are based on facts. The Nobel laureate psychologist Daniel Kahneman did some work for the Israeli army, changing around how they assigned new recruits to various branches of the army. He replaced intuitive interviewing with disciplined measuring. His interviewers rebelled, feeling that their highly evolved but totally non-functional intuitive skills were being rejected. They were, but eventually came around. His system is, at its basis, the parent of fact-driven recruiting. It worked so well for the Israeli army that they used his system for the next 15 years. We will describe the basics of fact-driven recruiting in this video, and also of fact-driven talent management like performance management and succession planning. In subsequent videos, we will describe how to do it. How to do fact-driven recruiting has been known for years, but its obvious benefits aside, it is still to this day not frequently done. So I want to make this point with great emphasis. Nowhere else in social science are there so many different studies that point to the same conclusion. Nowhere else in all of social science is there so much agreement. Fact-based decisions are better than intuition-based decisions. Bloomberg tells us, when an algorithm picks the candidates, they stay longer. Fact-driven recruiting, candidate analysis, and hiring suggestions are informed by the very algorithms to which Bloomberg points. Scientific American tells us that an algorithm beats the experts at hiring. This article says algorithms using objective data lead to much greater accuracy in predicting widely valued outcomes such as job and academic performance. A true expert is someone who knows what they do not know, namely that our intuition can fail us. According to the Harvard Business Review, algorithms beat instinct. They go on to give us a little comforting advice not to extract the human factor entirely. In fact, hiring managers resist the help if they feel that their control over who gets hired is being taken away from them. But we know from our experience that a lot of granular data about how candidates compare to measurable job requirements and to each other tend to push biases out of the selection decision. So breaking the job into requirements, measuring candidates against the requirements, and presenting the results in ways that are vivid, clear, and easy to understand tends to drive hiring managers to hire candidates who are truly the most qualified. Let's just take a very quick look past the theory and research to how fact-driven employee selection works. First, we deconstruct jobs into single-event behavioral requirements like has inspected materials to detect defects. They have to be single event. We can only measure one thing at a time. We cannot measure Superman's leaping over a tall building in a single bound and flying faster than a speeding bullet in one requirement and give it one single integer score unless they are identical in each of the dimensions. We have to create 2 separate requirements. Behavioral. We cannot measure nice. We need to find exemplars, behavioral examples of how nice is revealed in everyday work life. We measure them. Then the scores can be color-coded and put into a heat map. So how candidates line up against the requirements and against each other is portrayed vividly and with clarity. We measured against a 1 through 5 scale. 3 is what our hiring manager wants and is light green. Red is less, 1 and 2. Dark green is more, 4 and 5 on the 5 scale, and is more than what the hiring manager wants. You can see clearly that the candidates in the middle columns have most of what the hiring manager wants. The candidate on the left have more. That might be good, or it might be too much and bad. And then you can see the person on the far right is not qualified at all. You can also compare the candidates in the middle and look at the trade-offs, the few areas of weakness, and what you get instead. Now you have the information you need to make a reasoned and sensible decision. The next videos will describe more about how fact-driven recruiting works and how the same techniques can be applied to other aspects of talent management. Thank you very much. I'm John Wentworth. I've been a recruiter for almost 40 years. I've run Wentworth Recruiting for 32 years and was a human resources manager and director before that. I hope that the fact-driven methodologies give you some ideas about how you can influence your employment and talent management functions. Please call or write if you'd like to chat. It's not an imposition. As you might imagine, I love talking about this stuff. Thanks so much for watching.